Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynic Alex, and today we got another maintenance notice, so patch notes essentially for Marvel Future Revolution. And it's funny, I haven't really uploaded recently, but last week I uploaded a patch notes video, and now this week we have another patch. So back-to-back weeks with a patch to try and, bring more stuff to the game and also balance existing things in the game. I think that's really good. I don't expect, and I wouldn't expect to see them patch the game every week. That's pretty intense. But it's really good if they're going to do that for the first couple of months at least, to keep things fresh, to keep things balanced, and to really keep their pulse on the game and the community, especially after it goes into global launch and you have hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people checking out this game. So let's jump into it and see. These patch notes in general are going to be a little bit more interesting and substantial because they're going to introduce balance changes, balance adjustments, and new rewards via events for existing game modes. So let's check it out here. The patch is going to happen tonight, so the 2nd of August at 2200 UTC-5. This is 1 hour ahead of the Eastern Standard Time, so this is actually going to be on the 3rd of August in the wee hours of the morning. So yeah, I'm not going to stay up for that to see what those changes are. I'll hop on in the morning to see, because I wake up pretty early now. But we don't actually have the details. This is basically the only part of the patch that is not listed in detail. It just says some heroes' skill balance will be adjusted. So in my opinion, and again, I'm purely speculating, but I think that they're going to be adjusting some of Storm's damage and some of Black Widow's damage because they can, Captain Marvel and possibly Iron Man, because they seem to be the very most popular characters when it comes especially to group PvP, Omega War, and other endgame contents, because they can do, extreme amounts of burst damage, damage sustain, and they quite easily, with a similar build, quite easily out DPS the other 4 characters: Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and Captain America. Now, you'd expect them to out DPS Captain America, but if they're out DPSing Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man, it sort of can create a bit of an imbalance, in my opinion. Also, getting Invisi-sniped by Black Widow is a pretty feels bad man moment. I know it's, somewhat easy to counter in PvP, but yeah, having a skill that scales like that with guaranteed crit rate is pretty interesting. So we'll have to see what happens. Honestly, the character that I see the least in all content is Star-Lord or Spider-Man. So I brought up the 4 best characters in my opinion, as far as DPS-wise goes, to highlight 2 of the characters that I think are probably in need of bumps upward. Because, I've heard from players who have gone through and grinded every character to level 100. Spider-Man is definitely one of the harder, more challenging ones to get to 100. Same thing goes with Star-Lord. So hopefully they'll make, the balance adjustments that make sense and that the players are happy with. Again, we are in soft launch, so, and not just in soft launch, but in general, with an MMORPG type of game, there are going to be changes. So I wouldn't go into this game, I wouldn't play this game expecting the character that you like to never change. Balance changes are really important for these kinds of games because they're going to affect a lot of content, and because you're not only playing against, but you're also competing with side-by-side players. So you want to have a pretty equal playing field, right? You don't want the fact that, oh, Storm's skill deals 500%. It just has better scaling than mine. So even if I play perfectly as Star-Lord and I have the best gear, Storm's still going to beat me with worse gear. Like, you don't want that to be the case, right? You want skill to prevail, so you need to have balances, right? There has to be balance adjustments made frequently. So this is good. Hopefully they do more of this. This is probably the best change, I have to say. This is probably by far the best change I've ever seen. Okay, maybe not the best change I've ever seen, but this is a really good change, especially if you're not a hardcore player, but you do want to get all your dailies done, which I think most players are at this point. So they are increasing, they're shortening the waiting time, and they're increasing the spawn rate for the normal most wanted targets. So basically, there's 2 types of targets when you check out the most wanted. There is the most wanted on your quests, which are these normal spawns, and then there's the prime targets, the Modocs, the Lokis, the Laufeys. Those are the bosses that spawn. But these normal guys, you need to go into the zone and wait for them to spawn in order to get those juicy squad XP rewards, which are really important now, and the additional rewards. If you beat all 3 of them in one day, you get to choose one of these rewards. These rewards are pretty good. 4 costumes or 50k gold or 125 convergium. This is really good. But sometimes it takes me like an hour, man. An hour. Because I'm sitting here waiting for Sleepblade to spawn, and he doesn't want to spawn. And all the other guys are spawning. Vester and the other clown, but not Sleepblade. So honestly, I'm a bit biased, but I do think this is a really good change. Hopefully it's good enough, because it shouldn't be waiting more than 5-10 minutes for any one character, any one enemy to spawn. It really should not take more than 5 or 10 minutes. It's just a crazy time sink. Like honestly, what I do nowadays is I'll be watching something on Netflix and I'll open my phone and I'll go to Most Wanted, because that's how long I think it's going to take. It's going to take 1 or 2 or 3 episodes of a half an hour or an hour-long show to get the Most Wanted thing done, and I just throw that on auto. It's rough. So hopefully this will change. They're also going to be increasing the amount of healing that you get from level 1 and level 2 medkits, which should make your gold consumption in the early game lessened. Because if each individual medkit is healing you for more, that means you're going to have to purchase them less frequently. So that is good. It lessens the strain on your gold a tiny bit. We still need more gold, but this is a pretty decent change. They're also going to be balancing some of the villains in the epic quest missions, in the epic missions. So this should be pretty interesting, because in general, I didn't find the epic missions too difficult. Some of the boss fights are a little bit challenging. I think some of the longer boss fights where you have to chain multiple bosses is really where it gets challenging. So Ulik is actually pretty hard, but I was thinking, where you have to fight Malekith, and then right after Malekith you have to fight Loki. That's pretty challenging. There's also one where you have to fight Crossbones, and then you have to fight a Hydra robot, and then you have to fight Red Skull, and then I believe you have to fight Crossbones again. Like there's like 3 or 4 bosses chained back to back to back when you're around level 55, like right after you beat Thanos. So that is pretty tough as well. So maybe they're gonna balance those fights. The Maestro fight's honestly pretty hard, but it's the last fight in the game for the epic mission. So I'm kind of okay with it being really hard, because you can just put it off for later, right? It's more about the quests in between that you don't want them to be too hard, because then players are gonna get stuck there and be like, well, I guess I just can't see the rest of the story. But if it's the last mission, you've completed 99% of the story. You're like, well, I know what happens. I just gotta beat Maestro now. So yeah. And you can get to level 100 without beating Maestro at the end. So I think they should keep Maestro difficult, but they should hopefully they look into decreasing the difficulty of some of the chain progress bosses. It would be hilarious if they made some of them harder. I don't think they will. I think they'll make it easier, but yeah, we'll see. They're also going to increase the hero removal time. So this is an interesting thing. I had no idea for the first couple weeks that this was even a thing that players were doing. But essentially, every character has, if you go over to if you go over to Enhance Potential, every character has this page. And you have to get these potential records, these consumable potential materials, in order to increase these. But the ones that you get through leveling and through the epic mission rewards is not enough to completely enhance your character. As you can see, I'm 100% here, but then I'm 61, 33, 23. So I'm maybe halfway on Doctor Strange, maybe not. And so what players were doing, some players, again, not all players, they were grinding the character up to 100 and then taking all of these potential records and storing them in the storage, and then deleting the character, and then 3 days later they would make the same character again and level them to 100 again. Apparently, you need to level a character if you just want to get it completely free and sort of like game the system, so to speak. You have to grind the same character from level 1 to 104 times in order to get enough of these reports. However, you can get these reports in other ways. Like, it's not the only way that you can get them. It says shop, but you can, you can buy them with one of the tokens. I can't remember which one, but you kind of get what I'm saying here. You can do that. I believe it's here. Yeah, these potential reports. It's not much. It's 50 per week. It's pretty low. They need to increase the amount that you get, but yeah, I think they don't want, right? They don't want players to completely blitz through the content and try to max out a character in 2 weeks, 12 days, right? Not the point. Really, like, again, players who are trying to max out a character in 2 weeks in an MMORPG, it's like trying to sprint on the beach. It's trying to sprint in the sand. It just doesn't make any sense, right? So I think this is a good change. Again, the game is supposed to take a long time. You're supposed to grind out some of these things. You're not supposed to be able to max out every aspect of your character within a month. If that's what you're looking for, then a game like MCOC or MFF, that's more your tempo. But like MMORPGs are supposed to be a slow grind. It's supposed to be a slow burn. So yeah, people that are upset about this, I kind of just feel like they're not really understanding the spirit of the game. Leveling a character to 100 and deleting them and then leveling them again, A, is not fun, and B, is definitely not in the spirit of the game. So yeah, I think this is a fine change. I don't think it really matters. This kind of is a bummer for players who are trying to test a character, especially if you don't have the crystals to buy the extra hero slots. So I would say in that case, you're better off like watching videos, you know, that I make, that other content creators make, Darth Microtransaction, etc., to see if you like the character, right? Like watch a review or whatever, watch some gameplay footage, watch some streams of the character being played, and then decide whether you want to level them up. Because if you know, level them up to level 20 and then you're like, Captain America's kind of boring, I don't want to play him, you're gonna have to wait a week before you can delete him and have him deleted and then start a new game with a new character, like in your squad. And then they're going to be improving some of the rewards for certain missions. These are very, very small reward improvements, but they're just giving more training manuals, which means more squad XP. And then they're going to be improving special ops. Now, this is one of the other good changes that they're making. I don't think they're going far enough with these changes necessarily, but we will see. So they're not giving us the exact rundown of how they're changing the special operations score, but they're saying we have improved our scoring system so more points are given to teams with teamwork that clear the content faster. Now, for those of you that don't understand what this is hinting at, it's basically hinting at people who are, again, they're not cheating, they're just sort of gaming the system and taking advantage of the fact that you can queue up. You can't invite people onto your I don't think you can invite people into your team. Like, I don't think I can make a party and then go into special ops, but I think you can manage it if you time it properly, and you can join special ops with your friends or with your alliance mates. And essentially players have been doing that, and if you go to the weekly rankings, you can see that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 7, 8, the top 8 players are all in the exact same alliance. Wow, what a coincidence. And would you look at that? They all have nearly identical scores. What are the odds of that? 4,000, 4 million. 4 million, 4,000, 4 million, 4,000, 4 million, 350,000, 4 million, 300,000. Wow, they're just the best players in the game. No, they're really not the best players in the game. They're clearly gaming the system. They are joining a special ops with each other, and then the other 3 players in the special ops will just do nothing. They won't even move from the starting zone, and the one player will solo the entire special ops, get 100% of the points, and then rinse and repeat for the other 3 members. Obviously, this is very time-consuming and tedious, but it's also completely ruining the rankings for this. Like, it completely destroys the rankings, because there's no way, if you play this game honestly, this game mode honestly, there's no way that you can compete with them. If I play my best and I get really lucky, I get 2.5 million. 2.5 million would put me where? And again, I have to get really lucky. That would put me top 20. So you're not even top 10 if you're the absolute best player in terms of like actual gameplay, and you're lucky, right? You're not even gonna be top 20, because there's gonna be at least 20 people. And again, that's just when these guys figured it out. As this game goes global, more players will figure this out. More players will have, no life to spend mindlessly, cheat. It's basically cheating. It's like soft cheating. Anyways, it kind of pisses me off, as you can tell from my tone. So hopefully they fix this as well. I'm not sure, but they probably, when they looked at the stats, especially when they saw that, they probably just figured it out, right? Because they looked at the special ops scores for all of these players that are ranked basically identically, and they saw that they were taking like 9 minutes out of the 10 minutes for the special op, because the special op has a 10-minute timer, so you can see the time limit. So they're like, oh, you guys are spending 9 minutes every single time and you're all getting a perfect score? Huh, that's kind of sus, eh? Of course it's sus. It's extremely sus. So hopefully their score will be so crap because of that they have to just completely abandon the strategy and they actually have to just play honestly. Because I think and the reason why it upsets me is because I think special ops is actually a really good game mode, and it's also a fair game mode. It levels everyone to 100, even if your character is not 100, and it doesn't include your gear stats and your gear effects, so whales cannot dominate free-to-play players in this game mode. And it's PvE game mode, but it's like cooperative, and it gives a really good reward in the form of extra costumes. So to like pervert this game mode with sort of like cheating and gaming is really a piss off to me. So yeah, that's the change that they've made. I'm pretty sure that this change is to combat that sort of negative gameplay that players were introducing to sort of try and keep all of the rewards for themselves, but we'll have to wait and see how this shakes out. And then we have 2 new events for Omega War and Raid. I'll talk about that in a second. And then they fixed a bunch of bugs with Doctor Strange's, some of his skills not doing damage, not having their damage increase as it levels, and some other changes as well. Nothing too serious. Let me jump into the events real quick here. The Omega War event is actually pretty cool. So you're essentially going to get extra Omega War tokens for playing Omega War. So for participating, and then for winning up to 15 times. And then if you complete all the missions, you will get 2 Omega card draw tickets for the Omega cards. So these rewards are actually quite good, especially when you consider that you can take these Omega War tokens and then you can spend them in the Omega War consumable shop to get potentially even more Omega cards. So if we go over to tokens and we go to Omega War, you have the PIM research log, which is quite nice, and you get that once per week. You can get the Convergium particles. You get the Omega. You can get the Omega cards. It's not very good, I think, but you can get them. And then you have the level 100 badges, which I also think are good. And you can basically get almost 1 free badge on top of the 2 free Omega card tickets. So I think the rewards could be a little bit better, but they're actually not bad. And these are on top of the regular rewards you'd get for competing in Omega War anyways, so it's kind of nice. I think the win count is kind of high, but the event does last for 2 weeks. So yeah, you don't really need to play. You need to basically win just over once per day if you want to sort of stretch this out for the duration of the event. But for some players, that is still really hard. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And then the Raid event. This one is very straightforward. Basically, you just play Raid. I don't even think you need to play Raid. You just need to go to the Raid event tab, and then you need to collect the Alpha Supply Box. I'm not a big fan of these types of events because they're hardly events. So basically, it's just like, hey, we are doing this, we're promoting this game mode, so here's a reward. And that's the event here. I was doing a little bit of gambling, but yeah, like you'll have a notice, and it'll just be like, hey, you know, here's this event, and you just click accept, and you just get the reward. It's pretty lackluster in my opinion, so I'm not a big fan of these. I think they should try to put more effort into these events if they're going to do them. I think the Omega one's great. I think it's fine. But I think this one's kind of... It's not about the reward being lame necessarily. They don't need to throw like thousands of rewards at us. It's just that there's no effort here, right? Like this is an event that's cooked up in 5 seconds. And it's an event that you interact with in 5 seconds. Because all you do is you press the little present icon and you just press accept. That's literally all you do. Like what I'm doing right now with this login event, that's literally all you do. That's it. That's all. So yeah. So overall, those are the patch notes. I think it's mostly very, very good. Obviously some constructive criticism as well, but what I think is only one man's opinion. Hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.